Welcome to game number 46, Amazons White, Australia under 26 Black. This is the first game of the day here in Hobart, Tasmania, and currently we've got an advantage puck for the Amazons right up in the Australian goal bin.
Better be them. And this is a bit behind sometimes.
Australians doing great work to defend the advantage puck there, taking it out to the ball, but it seems to be another ref call. An illegal stopping from the Australian team. So it's an illegal stop when the player uses either their hand, arm or part of their body to stop the puck instead of using their stick. Amazons are setting up now for the advantage puck. Australians all behind the advantage line. The two refs there are creating an advantage line of which the Australians can't go past. Great flick from the Amazons. But Australia doing really well to keep it out of the goal bin. Taking it to the defensive corner. Amazons doing well to break up that. But the Australians have got it and they're going for a bit of a swim. Can't quite break through the Amazon backline though. A lot of players on the bottom of the pool in the first half. Often quite usual for the start of the game. As the game gets on, more mistakes are made as players can't quite hold their breath for long enough. Call made by the refs. Not quite sure what the call was for, but it's against the Amazons. Australia might be able to capitalise on this opportunity. It's been very interesting games for the Amazons and the Australians so far. I think the Australians have won more than they have lost. The Amazons team changing up regularly as it's a mix between Australians and Kiwis who are a little bit too old for the age bracket in this tournament. Just coming in to bring a little bit more competition to the Trans-Tasman. Great swim by the Australians, but it's been shut down by an Amazon back. Amazons are taking it up the pool. Fantastic camera change right there. That's the coach Nick Martin coming across the front of the camera there. Very, very close game here for the first game of the day on Thursday, second to last day of tournament at the Hobart Trans-Tasman. Australians really playing an aggressive game today. Just can't quite seem to break that last line of the Amazons. Great stick work from the Australian number 5. Sarah Walker is Australian number 5. Australians still holding the majority of the possession at the moment. Very stuck in the middle of the pool. Quite an unusual spot for it to be stuck in these games so far. Usually one team holds it in the corner for a little bit longer. The Amazons making a break for the goal. Lots of numbers down from the Australians, holding out a great defence. Seems to be quite a clean game as well. Not many calls being made by the refs, which is good to see. Australians beating in off the sub-bench. Bit of a missed opportunity there by the Australian centre player. If they pass it out wide, that would have been a sure runaway. Tries that swim away. Great work from the Australians here on the wall, driving it up. Can't quite cut that 45 and go for the centre of the bin. Amazons pushing them down to their defensive corner. Great flick right into the middle. Can the Amazons clear it out? It looks like the Australians have got the numbers, but they haven't got the drive. Oh, great spin off. Fantastic work by the Australians, just holding on to that position. Not quite sure what's happening because there's a ref in the way, but that's alright, he's doing his job. And it's a call against the Amazons for another illegal stop down. The Australians will get an advantage puck right in front of the goal bin here. All the Amazons are down nice and early, shooting out, trying to put pressure on that flick. Great work from the Amazons so far, but the Aussies, the numbers are just too good. Goal has been awarded to player number 3, it looks like. Hannah Robert Tissett was the one who scored that goal. So the score now 1 to the black team, which is Australia, and 0 to white, the Amazons, with 8 minutes to go in the first half. Amazons ready to go, and the striker's off. The striker's always played in between goals, put into the centre of the pool for them to swim towards it. Amazons went out fast, but the Aussies managed to play quite a defensive strike and take possession of the puck, but I don't know if it's working for them too well. It's a call against the Amazons. Not quite sure. I think it was a bit of obstruction when a player uses their body to block the puck instead of moving out the way as per rules. Because this is a non-contact sport, you can't use your body at any time to obstruct the puck if you don't have the puck on your stick, or bat, as the Australians like to call it. Great work passing from the Amazons, opening it up into the centre. Player Emma Ray, coach of the under-22 women's team. She's playing a bit of a celebrity performance in this one. Quite well known throughout the New Zealand community. They've also got Rachel Arbuckle stepping into this game as well. I think it's Bridie Hilder, I think is the last name, an Australian player as well, has jumped into the Amazons. So really stepping up their offensive line, the Amazons, but the Australians are holding the pressure fantastically, recycling it out in front of the bin, taking it to the wall. Straight to their sub bench, giving them the opportunity to put in some fresh subs and drive up the pool. Great swim across the pool, really trying to pull the Amazons out of their comfort zone, swimming them around a bit. Amazons have done well to shut that swim down, take it to the corner, reset. Whether the Australians will be able to capitalise once again coming up into their goal bin. Fantastic teamwork from the Australians pushing that one. It looked like there was to the goal, but it seems to have been saved. Great hustle from the Amazons. Must have just pushed it out, but surely that's a goal there, and it's number 12, I think, was the one that scored that. Isabella Piccoli, sorry. So the score now 2 Australia, 0 Amazons. With 4.5 minutes to go in the first half here in Hobart, Tasmania. Neither team has used their timeout, but the Amazons, speak of the devil, have just called their timeout which gives them 1 minute to recuperate and make sure that they can get their team onto the scoreboard. The Australians seem to have most of the dominance of this game today. This tournament is a great opportunity for the players to really suss out the pool, as the World Championships for the age group is being held here in Hobart next year, bringing lots of countries from around the world to come and compete to be the world's best. New Zealand and Australia are both very, very competitive on the world stage. And the strike is off. Amazon's just putting out with a great dummy or swerve. It's the lead guy here for the Australian team. Driving it up the wall. Amazon's trying really hard to take it into the open space, but the Australians are just all over them. They've just got numbers on the bottom of the pool. Fantastic work at just driving them through. Amazon there sprinting straight across to the sub-edge. Great work from the Australian player there. I think that's the number 3, Hannah Robert Tissett. Doing some great work at defending, keeping the pressure on. But the Australians have obstructed. The refs have just pulled up a call, so these might be the Amazons' chance to put themselves on the scoreboard and make this game a little bit closer. Number 2, Emma Ray, will be taking the advantage puck. Massive charge out from the front line from the Australians. One of the hard things about playing Australia is they've got these huge hooks on their stick that just make it so hard to get a clean tackle for them to just come in and scrap it off your stick quite easily. I wouldn't say scrap, it's probably the wrong word for it. Steal it off. It's another advantage puck for the Amazons. Oh, it's maybe an equal puck. Ref seems to be... It definitely is an equal puck. So both teams have fouled equally, and the refs have decided that neither team deserves the advantage. Amazon's taken the equal puck very, very quickly. Australians just got all the numbers down. Massive drive from their front player. Huge flick from out of nowhere in the corner. The Australians have just got great body positions, holding the puck really nicely. Hips nice and close to the ground, chest up. It's really good to see. So currently the Amazons and the Australian under 26 are actually sitting equal on the table. So this will be the last game for them and decide what position they will be at the end of the round robin. Their final will automatically be Australia under 26 versus New Zealand under 22. But it's always nice to have a little bit of extra competition, and I'm sure the Amazons will want to be placed higher than third at the end of the round robin. So they're going to be fighting to the end to get into this game. The timeout has been called for the Australians to try and recuperate right in front of the goal bin. Nick Martin giving them some words of advice, and Amazon's talking about a couple of tactics, I'm sure of it, to see how they can get it into the goal bin with only 25 seconds to go in the first half, sorry. For those wondering, the game up next is New Zealand under-18 Women's Obsidian versus Australia under-18s A. Lots of numbers on the ground. The Australians once again able to take control in a disadvantaged position. And that's half time. So at half time it's 2-0, 2 to the Australian under-26 and 0 to the Amazons. The Australian under-26 team is made of cap number 1, Sonny Pascoe Thompson, cap number 2, Tori Wicken, vice captain, 3, Hannah Robert Tissett, 5, Sarah Walker, 6, Stephanie Wickham, 8, Sarah Tyndall, 9, Molly Martin, who is the captain, 10, Romy Keppel, 11, Caitlin Timmonsell, 11, Isabel Piccoli, and 13 is Alice Vandervold. Vandervold? Sorry about that. And the Amazon team is made up of number 2, Emma Ray, 3, Christy Whitehead, who is the captain, 4, Samantha Colville, vice captain, 5, Natalie Wicken, 6 is Camille, I think, and 7, Fiona Walsh, 8, Dan Hunt, 9, Jenny Kennedy, 12, Sarah Preston, 13, Jana Kopekna, and 14, Danielle Gibson, but I do know that they have Bridie, an Australian, stepping into this game as well. I'm not sure what cap number she is and which player is sitting out to let her jump into this game. Minute and a half to go in the half time. It's quite entertaining here at Hobart in the pool right now. They've set the physio up right next to the commentator's box, and a lot of people in pain, grimacing through massages and all sorts. Fantastic setup by the Australians so that all the teams can prevent injuries and fix themselves when they do get injured, as underwater hockey is quite a physically demanding sport, as you can imagine, not being able to breathe while playing at the same time. Easiest way to describe it is imagine playing a game of soccer and every time that you ran with the ball, you had to hold your breath. 30 seconds to go in the half-time. Score is still 2 to the Australian under-26 and 0 to the Amazons. I feel like the Amazons are going to be coming out firing in the second half, with most of them only coming in to give the Australian under-26 and New Zealand under-22 team a bit of extra competition. They haven't exactly been training like the two competitive teams, so fitness is one of the things that really lets them down near the end of the tournament. Being 5 days of solid hockey, 2 games a day, not the easiest feat. And the first strike is off. Amazons taking control of the first strike, driving forward, but the Australians have taken control of the puck, spinning it right round, right next to their sub-bench, which has been working very effectively for the Australians so far, as they're able to get lots of fresh players in and make big, strong drives forward. Amazons working their best to get it away from the sub-bench onto the other side of the wall. so that they don't have that rush effect of new players. Australia just showing superior bottom time in this game. Just rolling it forward, curling back and passing between their players, really not giving New Zealand much of a chance to get onto the puck. Great defensive work, but no, it's been put into the bin. Scored by number 9. Molly Martin, their captain, has scored the goal for the Australians, making the score 3 Australia, 0 Amazons. Number 9. Oh, sorry, incorrect. It was number 9 who scored. Now, if you're wondering how it's worked with the refs in the water and how they do make the calls, we have a chief ref standing on deck who waits for the referee to wave their hand around, and they'll press the buzzer and magic. Everyone knows what's going on. Much easier than having each ref to hold a bell or donga to make the calls. Amazons driving again, one up into the defensive corner for the Australians, keeping it away from that sub-bench. The Australians are holding on to it very tightly. Amazons making a drive. Great work from the Australian front player. And great defensive work from number 11, Caitlin Timmonsell. And the ref, once again, getting in the way of the camera. I'm sure there's some fantastic hockey going on. I'm assuming there's a lot of Australians defending and a lot of Amazons attacking. Lots of bodies on the floor. And as you can see, I was right about my prediction. Amazons getting a slight touch on the puck, driving through. I'm assuming there's an Australian right now doing a lot of work, driving it. But up the back wall, there we go. And Amazons really struggling to get it into the goal. Into open space. They're trying to spin it out wide, but the Australians have put a lot of pressure sending that wide player out on their wide spin. And the Australians taking it back to their sub-bench, getting in some fresh subs. Making a massive swim from an Australian there, taking on 3 by herself, but it didn't quite work out for her. Not enough support from the Australians there. But they've taken back on the possession once again, spinning it out wide, trying to swim and spread the Amazons out. Great work from the Amazon forward there. Number 8, Dan Hunt. Seems both teams are quite hungry for this next goal. 3-0 is not the safest lead to have in the world. I've seen teams come back from 5-1 in the second half. That's never fun.
It's 4-0.
Is it 4-0 currently?
Yeah, from 4-0.
No. And scored from the Amazons. Not sure if that's 2 or 12. If it was 2, that would have been Emma Ray. 12, it would have been Sarah Preston. Sarah Preston normally playing in the back line, but today making her debut as a forward for the Amazons. So the score now 3 Australia, 1 the Amazons. Will the Amazons use this to keep fighting and get back up another goal, or will the Australians come back out firing and take control of the game once again? Amazons doing a massive strike, trying to go up the middle. Australians spreading it right wide to the corner, to the wall, sorry. Amazons are hungry though. Getting down, a lot more numbers down on the bottom now than they had previously. Seems somebody said something that's kind of clicked them into gear, making them play a lot stronger. Not many calls being made by the refs in this game, so it must be a very clean game, which is quite unusual when you play against the Amazon or a Barbarian team, because teams just seem to get frustrated with us and start fouling. Great work from the Amazon shielding the puck. The Australians have got great numbers up the front, really putting pressure on the Amazon backline, making them force moves. Oh. And that was a great hit by the ref there into the camera. Nice view of the sub-bench now. Might not be able to see as much for a bit now. So we're just going to have to assume we know what's happening. There's a ref's call being made, and it's a gloving call against the Amazons. I'll try and keep you as informed as I can as the camera for the viewing pleasure. It would be great for the Australians to make a runaway. So we can get back onto the camera, but I'm sure for the Amazons they want to stay right up in that goal bin, or goal tray as the Australians like to call it. Great work from the Australians, taking it nice and wide, but the Amazons have done well to shut that, not really let them get much ground off that advantage puck. The Amazons have taken control of the puck, swimming it up. Australians have recycled it back once again. Great work at holding possession, the Australians. It's one of their strengths definitely in the game, is being able to hold possession and take control of the game. Amazons most likely going for a swim. And I'm assuming Australia is doing great work at being down on the bottom, doing some solid defensive work. And Amazons are probably trying to spin it around the back, try and put it in front of the goal bin as the Australians push it towards the defensive corner. There's a bit of a drive going forward towards the bin. Lots of numbers on the bottom. The refs have got their hands ready, but the Australians have managed to push it out once again towards their subbing bench, so they should have a lot of fresh players coming through now. You can see the Amazon coming back into the camera view here. Australia's got the puck, they're going for a good swim. Number 2, Emma Ray, shutting down that swim from the Australian. They've just got more numbers, they just can keep them coming, especially with the fresh subs in. Driving straight up. This is really unideal for the Amazons, but the Amazons have taken control once again. Bit of a 2-on-1. Great under the body work from the Australian there. The Amazons have managed to capitalise on not being able to see the puck and done a solid hit.
That's right.
But the Australians, so it's great work at holding on to the possession, swimming backwards towards their sub bench.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Thank you.
Now I've managed to fix the camera slightly. Hopefully the ref doesn't decide to go flying into it again. Amazons have got the puck, they're driving the 45. They just can't seem to shut that last push down. Whether it's their gameplay or the Australians just playing some fantastic defensive hockey. Couldn't tell you, to be honest. Amazons going for a swim up the pool. Little feet speeding away. Great drive off the wall. The Australians seem to have shut it down again, but there's a second wave coming through from the Amazons. They just can't quite break through that last line of defence from the Australians. Fresh subs coming in. Amazons getting a few extra subs in as well. Great drive off the wall there from the Australian. Passing out to one of her wider players, spreading out the Amazons once again, trying to get them to swim side to side, tiring them out relentlessly. And they just keep bringing in wave after wave after wave. Fantastic rotation system by the Australians. But the Amazons have managed to sneak in and take control of that one. It looks like Emma Ray was the one who took that. And there goes Danny Gibson subbing out. New fresh subs coming in. Massive drive from the Amazons. The Amazons are pushing up nice and hard. Hopefully that player who just subbed wasn't a player that needs to be used here. They might have the opportunity of having that fresh sub come in and push them in. An advantage puck for the Amazons. Definitely want to be using this if they can. Their advantage pucks haven't been too successful against the Australians so far. The Australians do have a fantastic way of defending. Look at all the numbers on the bottom. Pretty much every single Australian is on the bottom of the pool, whereas you only can see one or two Amazons. Fitness really does come down to it when it comes down to the last couple of days of hockey. But the Amazons have managed to drive it in. Huge push from three Amazons, either end. Very, very hard to defend. The refs have called it a goal, and that is number 12 from the Amazons, Sarah Preston, has taken that goal. My apologies, that was not Sarah Preston who made that goal. It was the number 2, Emma Ray. It's a team timeout for the Australians. Nick Martin giving them a little bit of tips. 3-2 now in the first game here at Hobart, Tasmania. Emma Ray giving a few words of encouragement to the Amazons. Obviously feeling like they can get back into the game. They've got a minute 40 to close it down to make it a 3-all draw the other night here in the pool. And the Amazons were up 3-2 with 30 seconds to go, and the Australians managed to win a strike straight through the middle and put 3-all on the scoreboard. So we've got a little bit of a lag from the camera. It's alright, I can tell you what's happening from the surface of the pool. They've taken it to the side wall, and both teams once again going side to side. Amazon's making a solid drive up the pool, but it's been slided off by the Australians towards their sub bench. Amazon shutting it down now. Whether the Australians can capitalise on this run, it doesn't look like it. The Amazon team is pushing up. Still stagnant in the middle of the pool. Both teams will be fighting to make sure that this doesn't happen.
When did it end the game?
New Zealand, Amazon, sorry, really desperately trying to get it up. But the Australians are just too strong on the defensive corner, pushing them down towards the Amazon sub bench. Looks like the Australians have got a bit of a break here. Amazon's being pushed right next to their goal. Will they? It looks like they will. Can't quite see what's happening. Refs frantically trying to get out of the way as the Amazons drive it into the back corner. Australians coming back for round 2, driving forward, some great speed. Awesome work by the Australian forward there. Amazons coming back into it. Call has been made, and that's time. Game over for the Amazons versus Australia. What an intense finish. Final score 3 Australia under 26, 2 to the Amazons. Next game is New Zealand under 18 women's team Obsidian versus the Australian under 18s women's team, and it's the 18 for the Australia. This is a big game for both teams, as it could decide what seed they come.
Well, this is semi-final.
Oh, this is the semi-final, sorry. The semi-final 4 to decide whether
We can't check.
New Zealand or Australia gets into the semi. So the seeding currently for the under-18 women's team grade is New Zealand under-18 women's diamond. Second seed is the New Zealand under-18 women's team Obsidian. And third seed, Australia under-18 women's team A. And Australian under-18 women's team is B. So the next game will be played in 12 minutes' time. My name's Stephen Glover. I'll be back soon.